Korea. Before buying a ticket, boarding a plane, and landing in Korea, we really didn't know that much about this country. Our limited knowledge included K-pop, K-drama, skincare, Hyundai, LG, Samsung, and a little bit about the Korean War, but admittedly, not enough. Yet. Oh yeah, and Gangnam Style. Let's be real, Korea is so much more than its pop culture and tech-savvy brands. While our knowledge of Korea was lacking, what better way to learn about a culture than experiencing it firsthand? The mystery and intrigue of Korea was strong enough to convince us to purchase the tickets and fly across the Pacific Ocean for 3 weeks. These are our first impressions of Korea and the start of our time in this amazing Asian nation. Welcome to Korea.
No matter how much you try, jet lag will always set in when you travel. But luckily for us, Seoul has tons of coffee shops.
Tons and tons. So many aesthetically beautiful coffee shops, which is perfect for when we're very jet lagged.
So we spent the first day or two kind of walking around, getting our bearings straight, trying to figure out what Seoul is and what Korea is all about.
Which, I mean, you can't do in 2 days by any means, but our favorite way to experience a new city is through food and walking. Food is one of the best ways to experience a new place, especially a place like Korea. So we're thinking kimchi, Korean barbecue. I don't really know what else. We really don't know that much about Korean food.
But Steph and Pete do, and they took us out to Korean barbecue.
We're actually meeting up with our hometown friends, Steph and Pete.
All right, so we're with our friends Steph and Pete.
I wanted to have a plan, and Pete told me I was obsessing.
They're deciding where we're going to eat tonight.
This is the tour of us trying to find a restaurant. Might take a while.
They've been here 3 months, so they're practically local. Like, you guys know.
Speak about two words of Korean. You guys are up for a little walk around.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's the bar.
Is it really?
It's not. The lights will be on, but usually.
Well, the light
so it's not open.
The light is on there.
Oh my god.
Wait, so there's a bar in there?
Yeah, it's up.
It's called Mind Your Step.
Yeah, it's open.
Oh.
The actual bar is like, you see where that light is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like on the 3rd floor, but like in the corner. And it's straight up just like an apartment. Like it's just they built a bar in an apartment.
Here last night, and we did that.
Yeah.
We watched the here last night.
The way I judge places is the banchan.
Which one's Bukchon?
All of these dishes are like banchan.
It's such a newbie.
I'm just somebody Korean watching this. Correct us. And all of these are banchan, which come like as a set with anything you order. My favorite thing about Korean food so far is they eat tons of raw garlic.
I thought that was.
You can like wrap it. So when we make the barbecue, we'll make sam, which is like when you take the lettuce leaf and you put some sauce and some garlic and you can put kimchi, whatever, and you make like the perfect bite, and you have to do it in one bite.
Okay. I love Korea.
Chris.
Oh, thank you.
For you?
Oh, and you never pour your own beer or your own drink.
So it's customary. I don't know. Do you mind doing mine? If you, that'd be great.
We should have learned more.
Chan is cheers. Tell me that.
You have to cook your own food here. It's like having a George Foreman.
I love it though. I don't know why. There's something about cooking your own food is really fun. So maybe keep it and not stick everywhere.
Yeah, so you take the lettuce and then you put whatever you want inside of it. And Steph described it as like the perfect bite. So you assemble whatever you think would be like the ideal one bite, and then you eat it in one bite. All right, so I'm going for, what is this, beef now? I did too much again. I put way too much. I want to try everything, which was a mistake. Don't choke yourself like I did. But
this seems to be the Koreans' favorite kitchen implement. It's scissors, but it's very practical for cutting through your meat.
NYU was like right after the Ivy League. Like I had it when friends were.
There's a lot of food happening right now, and I've been filming this whole time. I'm getting hungry. We'll see you in a second.
Choosing to stay in Seoul was kind of a weird move for us because we really like being outdoors, but we also like the city life too. Between helicopters flying over your head or horns honking, it can be really overwhelming. So finding a park, this green space in the middle of all this chaos, is very much needed.
So when we're visiting huge cities like Seoul, one of our favorite things to do is to find safe havens like this.
This is Seoul Forest, and it's this really large park, but it's a beautiful park, and there's these high-rise business and condominiums and all sorts of things just right around us, but then this is a little safe haven, this little quiet spot. We said the parks are our favorite place to seek out because they're quiet in the midst of a busy city, but Seoul's pretty quiet. Like on public transportation, in lobbies, if you're sitting there standing, people aren't talking. They're quiet, out of respect for others around. They may have their headphones in, watching K-drama or whatever on their phones, but around others, they're very quiet. And then they come to the park, and it's the first time I've really heard Korean people like boisterously laugh. Like the kids are running around playing. It's very lively. So usually parks would be like the quieter part of the city, but this is like where everybody comes and just sort of like relaxes. And I like that.
Seoul just spreads forever. In every direction.
Even though Seoul is massive, their subway system makes it very manageable.
These subway stations are just so clean, nice, and quiet. And this section has real flowers. Look at this. This is a subway station. Beautiful. They're using old computer fans to cool off the plants.
This is a subway station. So nice. They have the nicest subway stations, and they're so quiet. It's almost relaxing.
I find it kind of creepy and unsettling.
I actually like commuting here. It's quiet and relaxing. They have plants on the walls, and it's nice.
So if you don't already know, we regularly travel with our dog Kramer, at least as often as possible.
He's been to more places than most of my family has been.
Mine too. He is a very well-seasoned traveling dog, and he is in Korea. I think Korea is my favorite place we've taken him. The dogs you see in Korea are...
They're little teacups.
They're little tiny.
Kramer's a small dog, and he looks like a giant compared to these little miniature dogs running around in Korea.
People here have been so nice, and they love Kramer. I mean, like,
They
Kramer.
love him.
Oh, sorry.
And we know that there are photos on Korean TikTok and Instagram right now of us in the subway system. So if you have those photos, please tag us at Chris and Sarah _
Just made a couple older ladies double over laughing. They saw Kramer and they just stopped everything and were giggling. I don't know what they were saying in Korean, but I'm sure it was humor at our expense. That's okay. We do it to ourselves. So we're hitting the subway, hence the backpack. Kramer doesn't always walk around in the backpack. Only we have to go on public transit. The weirdest thing just happened to me. I'm standing outside the market waiting for Chris because he ran inside to get a couple of shots of the camera, and Kramer I don't think is allowed in the market here. So I was just leaning up against the wall, just scrolling on my phone, and this older couple came over, and they didn't speak English, but they were so excited. They were just waving to Kramer and talking to him, which is pretty normal for here because the older demographic loves Kramer. And then he opened his wallet and pulled out 10,000 won, which is like $7 US, and then gave it to Kramer to eat, and Kramer took it in his mouth and he started clapping. He thought it was hilarious. And then they were like, bye, and started walking away. And I got the way, I was like, no, take this. I don't know if they thought I was homeless or what, but the guy just was insistent that Kramer take this money in his hand. And like, I tried, I was like, no, please take your money. But he just waved and walked away real fast. And now I have 10,000 won from some stranger on the street, and I have no idea what to do with it. I feel so bad. I was just sitting there on my phone. So maybe it's something, like he was insistent to give it to Kramer. which is hilarious.
Fair enough.
You're not. Get down. I don't know, but I feel really uncomfortable now.
In Korea, older people tend to carry candy and they like to give money to kids, almost like go buy yourself a toy. So it's regular that the older generations, like grandparent age, love giving gifts to kids. The one phrase that people said over and over to us about Kramer, the older generation, they'll say, dog baby, and they start laughing at Kramer. So I think that people gave us the money to go buy Kramer a treat, is what one of our Korean friends said.
She said that Kramer is so beautiful, and he is Kramer, that gentleman said he needs a bone.
The older generations, like my parents and my grandparents' age, they may have been the most hospitable of all the people here. They were so welcoming, which it made me incredibly happy and feel very welcome here because they were the ones more often than not who came over to us and said, hello, where are you from? And obviously it was, most of the time broken English, but I just so appreciated them coming over and welcoming us. So you've got the older generations in Korea, and then you've got the younger generations, and they're somewhere in between, like us. We're not middle-aged, but we're not cool like the Gen Zers. You know what I mean?
It's the younger generation.
They're so intimidating.
They've kind of put Korea was already on the map, but the younger generation has brought a lot of Korean culture to the world.
Tonight we're doing something that's not our usual speed. We're going to a mall. But this isn't any mall. This is the Coex Center, and it's a massive, massive mall underground here in Gangnam. And it's supposed to be really cool. We're not huge shoppers, but they have good food and some quirky, I read it was a good place to get like quirky gifts or just see quirky things that you'll find in Korea. It's for to go see. We've got the evening off, so let's go.
2012.
10 years old, that song is.
And Gangnam Style came out. Gangnam Style.
Gangnam. You're in Gangnam. You just said it.
It came out. It took the internet by storm. And
it was all over the radio. Do you remember that?
All over. I do remember that. It makes me feel super old that that's 10 years old. I'm like, oh, that came out yesterday. But they put a statue here.
Of the hands from the dance. If you haven't seen the music video. I mean, I saw the music video. I never watched music videos. But Gangnam Style is a real thing. Like
real thing.
We were warned by our Korean friends that, hey, Gangnam may not be the place that you guys really want to stay in because, I mean, it's very fashionable and trendy, which is obviously very much us.
Here we are with our Patagonia jackets.
Ow, my hip. Okay. We're done.
Because so much of what's coming out of Korea is influencing the world, I'd say via social media. Social media is huge here. It's probably one of the few places I haven't mind vlogging in public in because everybody's using a camera.
Everybody's using it. Even on their to-go apps, they have little tags that say this food is Instagrammable.
Really, it's categorized on their food apps.
Good morning from Seoul. It's early. I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts. I don't even like Dunkin' Donuts. I just need coffee. So today we're doing something totally different that we've never done before. We are trying on a traditional outfit. We've never done this in any country we've been to because in a lot of cultures it's viewed as rude, like people are just playing dress up, but not in Korea. In fact, so much so that when I talked to a few of my Korean friends, they all recommended you have to do this. I just said you have to go walk around the palaces, and bonus tip, it's free to get into the palace if you're wearing one. And who doesn't like a pretty dress? So let's go.
It really may come to a surprise to you, but Sarah is very much an introvert. When we pull out the camera, she's able to switch it on, be smiley and very hospitable and hosting to you. But anything that draws attention to her in public, she's like, she hates it. She's like shaking right now. And people are gonna think I'm forcing her to dress in this hanbok, but we're gonna enjoy this.
Just so not me. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful. But I like watching people in them.
I'm the type of person at like an amusement park for a show, I'll raise my hand to volunteer and like because I want all the attention on me. And Sarah's like, put your hand down, keep quiet, let nobody know that we're here.
Look how pretty that blue is. Hello, you might as well. You might as well. Sure. We good?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
This is the one I chose. Yellow and cream, and it spins. I've got a hoop underneath. Probably not ladylike to show that. The bag was a free edition, and Koreans do not wear this every day. They wear them on special occasions. So I was told like New Year's or other holidays, they'll wear their traditional outfits. Or you'll see them walking around having fun, like photo shoots with friends, that kind of thing. And then the rentals are for the tourists like ourselves.
I'm feeling good.
The Allbirds are a nice touch.
The Allbirds are a nice touch. The pants,
They're nice and breezy.
they're little, yeah, very breezy. Airflow comes in. I will say this. We walked in, there was no music playing whatsoever. And then she went back and she hit play, and no joke, it was all the Disney princess themes, like piano rendition in there. So you're picking out this and you feel like royalty, you know, you feel very special. Maybe this will be a cool transition. Wait.
Gentle with it.
Doesn't she look gorgeous in that dress?
I don't think you're patronizing me.
I'm not patronizing you. Like this, she looks beautiful. If you wear these, you can come in to the palace for free.
But granted, it's not that much anyway. It's 3,000 won, which is like not even $3. So as beautiful as their dresses are, like, yes, it's fun. It's fun to try it on. I haven't worn a dress that's long like this in years, probably prom. The Koreans know how to make comfortable clothes. I like this. This is comfy. I heard it gets really hot when it's hot outside, but it was like in the 30s when we left our hotel this morning. So it's a good day to do it. Come when it's cooler to do it. Otherwise you will probably melt because I don't think this fabric is all that breathable. Change of the guard was a really cool experience. They do it at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day, except for Tuesdays when the palace is not open. We saw this giant drum in the middle of the courtyard, and we thought that drum is going to be a part of the ceremony, so let's go stand by that drum, which was a great idea because they did use the drum, but they hit it 3 different times, and 2 of the times I had my back turned to it when the guy took that giant mallet thing and swung it at it. And I jumped out of my skin. So they came out and they did this whole coordination, and most of it was in Korean, so I couldn't understand all of it, or any of the Korean, but they did a little bit in English, and I understood that. I'm glad we came for that, so if you're gonna come to the palace, definitely come for one of the ceremonies. The palace is beautiful. Like, I can't get over how beautiful the palace is. Chris and I were talking about this a minute ago, how maybe, I mean, I'm sure it's not just an America thing where we get really excited about the traditional outfits, and we don't get to do this sort of thing in America, because our heritage, yes, there's the indigenous people, but that's not our heritage. Like, we are not indigenous. We are very European. And so our bloodlines are all sorts of nationalities, which is really cool. And that's part of what makes America really cool, is it's a melting pot of everything. But then you come places like this and people can trace their heritage centuries and centuries and centuries, and they have one specific culture that is uniquely theirs, and we don't have that. It's a neat thing to be able to see, like, this is my traditional dress. This is not mine, but like, it's fun to watch the Koreans walk around in their dress, and it's a fun experience for them. It's neat.
You're in this palace, and it feels ancient. It feels like it's full of history, and the guards, they look and feel like they're full of history. You can see that they've been doing this for a really long time. But then in the background, you see these tall skyscrapers. And so you have this weird mix of like ancient and modern and future, like all meeting right here. That is Korea in a nutshell. So if you come to Korea, expect that. Expect ancient and like amazing culture. But then on the flip side, expect very modern, futuristic, Jetsons. It's a really interesting contrast between the two, and seeing it mixed together, it stands out.
태양빛을 따라 바다로 가지 않을래 아니면 푸른 잔디를 침대 삼아 함께 누울래 파란 하늘 아래 천천히 너에게 다가갈게 너의 손을 잡으며 그렇게 우리는 시작해 For summer is for falling in love.
The Korean ladies, they're so beautiful and they're so petite and they're just so graceful. I mean, I am hardly graceful at all, but the Koreans are just so poised. And so I feel like a Clydesdale out here, and I love that they appreciate their culture in this way and that they're okay with us appreciating it in this way too. So if you come to Seoul, highly recommend. It is a fun experience, even for somebody like me who does not like standing out in a crowd all that much. It was a fun experience, so do it. Something to know about this place, the palace, is that it's huge. It's been a long time here.
So if you're a fan of architecture, you're going to love this palace. Whether you're looking at just the intricate little paintings on the side of the wall or the roof, and they have like little dragons. It's a really impressive building.
So now we're in the Bukchon village, which is right between the palaces. So the one we went to earlier is just west of here, and you could easily walk between the two. The village is homes that date back to the 14th century, which is really incredible. And they're beautiful homes, and they sort of have these little alleyways that go up the side of the hill, and it's a little bit of a hike, so be ready to walk a little bit. But they're beautiful, but you have to keep your voice down to a whisper. They have signs up, and they even have people patrolling and monitoring with vests on that say, keep your voice at a whisper, because people still live in these homes. Making a mess. So this is bingsu. And we haven't had this in a long time. It's just now really making its way to America, it seems like. But essentially it's shave ice. It's Korean shave ice. It's a dessert. Super fluffy shave ice. And we got mango, because mango just goes well with it. Now I can't see what exactly is holding ours together, but it's probably sweet condensed milk. It also has a mango-y flavor in it. But it's so good, it's so light. So today we're doing our first cooking class ever, and we're starting with kimchi. We've never done a cooking class anywhere before, and I don't know why, because I feel like it's a great way to learn a little bit about where you're at. So we start at the market, we get the ingredients, we walk through, see what all the different things are that they offer at the market. Then we're gonna go back to her house, and she's gonna teach us how to make, I think, 5 different types of kimchi. Truthfully, naive American me didn't realize there was more than one kind of kimchi. And then walking through the market, oops. So we're gonna learn how to make 5 different kinds of kimchi today. Don't know what all that's gonna consist of. It should be fun. So let's go. I'm not a very good cook back home either.
Okay.
So when you order like sugar, so could you hold the spoon here? One.
Oh, sorry.
No. I thought it would be okay. So 1 tablespoon. This is alright. It's too much.
That's strong.
And
Eyes. So much onion.
oh, I give you onion, spring onion pear for to wrinkle of the preparing ingredients. I just mixed it with the seasoning today.
Making kimchi. So we made cabbage kimchi, cucumber kimchi, radish kimchi. I'm learning a lot about kimchi today. Look what I made. My eyes are still watering. We made kimchi. I had mascara all over my eyes from crying with the onions. We just finished the kimchi cooking class and it was so much fun. Our host was amazing. She invited us into her home and then taught us how to make 4 different kinds of kimchi, which I'm not really sure what we're gonna do with this much kimchi because we only have 2 weeks. Oh, we have this much kimchi. Double the kimchi. And it's good, it's so good. And I hate to let it go to waste, so I'm sure we're gonna figure out a way to eat this. Anyway, I've got like, if nothing else, I need to do some arm workouts. So I've got some good weights here. It was a lot of fun. We're actually gonna go back to the market and look around a little bit more because we missed a lot of what it had to offer just because we love strolling through markets, taking our time.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so vanilla flavor first. Yes. 감사합니다. 맛있게 드세요.
So it's ice cream dipped in marshmallow and then he has this little T-Rex torch and he crisped the outside of it. Kitschy, and I love it and I'm here for it. That's good. Good. I feel like I'm 5.
So Sarah got the vanilla, I got the chocolate. Heck yeah. That's amazing. Oh, this is awesome. Look at that. That marshmallow ice cream concoction, whatever that was. That thing was really good.
So I'm not sure what this is. It just looked pretty. It's seaweed with rice and carrot and I don't know what else in here. We're good. It's really greasy on the outside. I'm guessing that's just to keep the seaweed from drying out, but I could be totally wrong. If you know what this is and how we're supposed to eat it, please let us know. I didn't see anybody else eating this. We're selling it in there. So I just thought it looked pretty. I like the little, remind me of a little flower arrangement with little colors poking out. That's really why I bought it. We are doing an official food tour of the market tonight, but we got here a couple of hours early and we are going to explore it on our own. I feel like whatever we're gonna do on a 2-hour food tour is probably still not gonna be enough. We're gonna wanna try as much as possible. I love markets because they can hold all sorts of things and it's a good way to sort of see the way the locals live a little bit. It's gonna be good, so let's go.
So like Sarah said, there's gonna be a lot of food in this video. We forgot to wear our stretchy pants.
Sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
I didn't.
Oh, Sarah's wearing her stretchy
Good.
pants. Like a noob, I'm wearing jeans. So, but by the end of the night, we will see what happens.
The button will be unbuttoned.
All right, let's go.
This is stir-fried rice cake. Now, our friend Josh recommended this. Apparently, it's got a bit of a texture thing, so if you're not a texture person, we've been warned that you may not like it. But the flavor, especially the flavor is really good. I can be a texture person, so I'm not sure how I will react to this.
but it looks good. She looks like she put some sesame seed on top of it. It's a lot of rice. Hot. That sauce is good though. What is it for? Like, drink? This is actually really good. The chewy's good. I like the chewy. It's not overly, I wasn't sure if it was a bit gritty or squishy, but it's just chewy. But the sauce on it is really nice. Got a little kick to it, a little pepper in there somewhere. I like this. I get that again. Good.
It is really chewy. It's like it is sweet. Like the look of it reminds me of like Chef Boyardee a little bit. We're not being offensive. It looks like it's Chef Boyardee. I like this. This is really nice. One of the interesting things when you sit down at a booth like that, instead of having napkins, they just have toilet paper, and they have a whole roll of it, and that's your napkin.
It's not 3 ply. It's definitely 1 ply. So question for you. You're Korean, maybe you could tell me. What is that eaten at? Is that a main dish? Is it a side dish? Is it a dessert? Because it has a sweet taste to it. I'm assuming it's probably not dessert though. But how do you guys eat it, or what do you eat it with? Let us know in the comments below. So these little fishies, that looks like he has a giant mouth. These little fishies are everywhere around here. Traditionally, they're the red bean. It has a slight sweet taste to it, but truthfully, as an American, when we eat beans, typically it's in like a savory dish. So it was a mental thing for me. It wasn't bad. It was good to try. Highly recommend trying it if you're here. You may love it. But to me, as a dessert, which these are typically served as, it was odd. So they had a custard one, which I'm sure is probably not as traditional, but I've seen them around very often. So we tried a custard one, and it's very sweet. Maybe too sweet, but very good. And they're stuffed full of custard. See it? That looks disgusting from the side. Nemo! Well, that's hot. That's really hot. Something I really like about this market is the way the vendors are sort of calling you into their booth. Most of the little vendor booths have benches on either one side or 3 sides, and you can just take a seat and they'll serve you, and then you pay as you get ready to leave. So they're calling you like, hey, have a seat, have a seat. It's not a bad sales tactic. I mean, you're looking at their delicious food, you might as well have a seat and take some. But this market, if you've ever heard of this market, I think that kind of sounds familiar. It's been featured on all sorts of TV shows, all sorts of Netflix shows. I mean, we just walked by a booth and then she had Gordon Ramsay's picture up where he had sat down and eaten at her booth. So a lot of famous people have been here, and for good reason. It's a fun spot, a lot of delicious food, and it's a great experience. If you're coming to Korea, I feel like this is already, I can recommend it as a must do.
So hopefully when you do come to this market, you'll see our faces on some random booth. I'm gonna print it out and start handing it to people.
Something kind of fun when you eat out in Korea is they don't give you the utensils wrapped in a napkin like you have in the States. They're in the drawer somewhere. Oh. Yep. Oh, right here. Yep. Right here. Not there. I thought they were at the end. So this restaurant was highly recommended. You gotta do it. I don't think it's on our official food tour later, so we got here early to try it. Yukhoe literally means raw meat in Korean. So this whole place is centered around serving raw meat, which is truly not my cup of tea. I'm not a huge meat eater anyway, and so to eat it raw is totally not my thing. Everybody told us, if you're gonna be in the area, you're going to the market, to get there a little early and go. So when we got here, we were third in line, and we got here just 15 minutes before they opened at 5 p.m. And by the time they opened the doors 15 minutes later, the line was like wrapped around. I mean, there were probably 50 people in line with us. They're still standing in line out there. So we ordered the Yukhoe bibimbap. Oh my gosh, I looked a little nervous because I'm not sure about this. So I read that this restaurant has been around for 3 generations. So I would say it's sort of a Seoul tradition. And something that's really cool about it is that all of their meat is locally sourced and brought in fresh every day. So if you're gonna eat raw meat, you want it to be fresh and you want it to be locally sourced. So we'll see how
how it goes. Here we go. I don't know if I can do this. Food is one of those things that's a really good way to experience a culture, because what we may dislike, maybe some other people in that culture love. And I think this might be one of those things, because I can tell you right now, my gag reflex is sort of kicking in just from looking at it, and it's going to be a hard one for me. So I may be 1 or 2 bites in, and we have to call it.
For breakfast.
It's full of flavor. It tastes like a steak to me, like a really rare steak, which is essentially what it is. Probably wouldn't order it again just because it's not my thing, but it is good to try, and you can tell it is good quality meat, and it's fresh. I think it was moving yesterday, so but the veggies are with it. I can do the veggies.
Yeah, it's got like some sweet sauce that they have at the table. It's good. It tastes like raw meat. I like, when I get a steak, I normally do like medium rare. With that said, I don't think I've ever had like raw like red cow meat. It tastes like cow sushi, but it's very flavorful. I understand why it's good. I understand why people get it. The texture is an issue for you because it is sort of liquidy when you put it in your mouth. The sauce definitely helps add a little bit of consistency and kind of disguises that. So, all in all, it's good. You're in, you order. They don't really have to cook the meat, so it's right there in front of you. And then you eat, and then you're out. Literally everyone around us was in there probably about 7 to 10 minutes in and out. It's pretty fast.
It's a really good point. I hadn't thought they were so quick at delivering to the table, but because they weren't cooking it. I didn't think about that. It was a good experience. Like I don't think I'll go back and do that again, just because I've tried it now. I love trying as many things in life as possible. I may not repeat everything. That's one of those things. I tried it. I think I'll stick to cooked meat for now. But there's lots more food ahead of us, so let's go.
So for the rest of the night, we've joined a food tour group. It's gonna be really interesting.
So the first thing we're gonna try is raw octopus, but fermented raw octopus. It's interesting, I guess.
The texture is just what I thought.
What texture? A little fishy. Next one is little baby crab, little tiny baby crabs. But they've been deep fried twice, so the shell won't bother us. And then fermented, so they've got the kimchi flavor to it.
Eyes are still in
I was gonna say, their eyes are still in there.
Staring into your soul.
Oh my gosh. Oh, crunchy.
And do you guys know?
They love their garlic here. I love garlic, but it's a whole nother level here in Korea. Cheers. Trying 2 different kinds of dumplings, kimchi and pork, and the first one up is kimchi. This is kimchi. These are not our first kimchi dumplings we've had in Seoul. These might be the best.
The dough that the dumpling is just really tender, and then the kimchi comes in with a little spice and kick. Very, very good. So this dumpling booth that we were just at is featured in a Netflix TV show. And the story goes like this. This lady, who you see right here in the pink, her husband was massively, massively in debt. So in order to make sure that the house wasn't sold out from underneath them, they had to go to work in the market. And so she opened up this dumpling stand, and it has just grown in popularity. And ever since Netflix, this is probably the #1 thing that a lot of people go and eat. And now she's doing pretty well. And the dumplings were amazing. So I feel like our tour guide knows I like donuts because she just walked over and said, try the donut.
Donuts are my love language for sure. Comes in a little cup too. It's just a really nice cinnamon twist donut. You can have a donut in between different foods. Are you really living? It doesn't matter if we're trying to film a vlog or whatever we do. Sarah always just ends up on focusing on the people around her, and she gets to know their life story and who they are. That's one of the reasons why I love her so much, is because we're trying to film, and she could care less right now because she cares more about the people than the filming. Now me, on the other hand,
Hey, we're gonna play some drinking games because Korea, drinking is a big part of our culture. Koreans drink a lot, and Koreans drink at every event. Just Koreans, they just love drinking. And then we were like that, and then we do this. So we can get the top layer off. I'm gonna pour a little bit of soju in there, and then the one who sings it gotta drink it. So it's called Titanic. Drink it all and do this. This one's for the octopus. You dip in this and eat it.
No.
Okay.
So if I chew it up fast, it'll stop moving?
Yeah, chew it fast and chew it well.
Otherwise it'll
Chew it fast and chew it well. Okay.
Here I go.
Wrap it so you suffocate so it doesn't move. Like wrapping a dead body in a roll.
It's so rubbery.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's so hard to chew.
And he will not. You did it.
He's like, to be
You're
better.
amazing.
The taste isn't bad.
Yeah.
The taste isn't bad. The taste is
Way
good.
better.
But there's something about seeing your food moving on the plate, and then as it's in the spoon, heading
don't
towards your
wrap
mouth,
it
and
in
it's still
steam.
wiggling
It's
around.
actually,
But the flavor is very fresh seafood.
It's for this.
It might be the freshest thing I've ever eaten in my life. It's still moving.
oh, that's really tough.
True it.
It's fighting me. It's like a live spaghetti.
I had a pretty good idea the octopus was coming, so I think I had time to mentally prepare, but then when it showed up and it was on the plate and it was moving around, I don't know. That was a hard one to grasp, but I'm glad I tried it. It was very tough, but it had a nice flavor. It was very seafoody, fishy. I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna be here, definitely try it. Just make sure that when you bite it, you chew really fast so it's not fighting you and like suctioning itself to the side of your mouth.
It's just like an age-old battle happening right here in my mouth. My tongue versus the octopus. That's a nasty image that's in your head. Sorry about that. So when we were in Mexico City, we went to this food market and they gave us these scorpions and bugs. And we had a lot of comments from Mexicans saying, hey, we don't eat that on a normal basis. And when we asked if they ate octopus on a normal basis here in Korea, the answer was yes. People go out of their way to go find this delicacy. So when you're in Korea, get an octopus.
Here. Thank you. So she said this is a wheat pancake with melted brown sugar on the inside. It's dessert. I earned dessert after that octopus today. All right, so that sort of concludes our market food tour. So much food. Guys, there's so much good food here in Korea, and some of the most recommended foods, actually probably all the most recommended foods we got from you guys online and from friends, can be found in this market. So if you're gonna come to Korea and you want to try the food, which why would you come to Korea if you didn't want to try the food? Go to this market. It was so good. I cannot recommend this tour enough. I'm gonna link her tour down below. She was amazing. She was so much fun, and her English was impeccable. She made the whole evening just awesome, and our group was great too. We're actually a group of all of Americans from all over the country, but it was fun getting to talk to other people and having that shared experience. So definitely come, eat the octopus, and enjoy it.
the DMZ. The most fortified border in the world. It's the mother of all border walls, stretching 160 miles along the 38th parallel. This 2.5 mile wide demilitarized zone is what separates North Korea from South Korea and keeps the war from raging again between these two countries. And if you're like us and know relatively little about the Korean War and what it's really like inside the Korean DMZ, keep watching.
Good morning. It is 4:50 a.m. in the morning. Today we're heading north, going up to the DMZ.
We have not had coffee, struggling a little bit.
Before we came to this trip, I didn't realize how close Seoul was to the border of North Korea. It's very, very close. And ever since COVID happened, they've changed the DMZ up a little bit on how people like us are supposed to visit.
We've seen plenty of other people who have gone to the DMZ, but most of those videos have been pre-COVID, and it's still pretty locked down up there, so we're not really sure what we're gonna see or what it's gonna be like, but we know that just getting to go up there and seeing the division between the two countries, it's worth the trip alone. You know, I say we're excited about this, but truthfully, it's one of those things that I don't necessarily know that I really want to do. I find it interesting, but it's really heavy just because this is not just a tourist attraction. This is a literal wall from the war that is still going on, and on the other side of it is a country that is very far removed and truthfully very sad.
But with that said, we're getting in the taxi and we'll see you up north.
Leave it to us to find coffee at the DMZ. We are technically not in the DMZ, actually. We are just outside of it. Right now, the DMZ opened again in May of 2022 for the first time since COVID, and it's very restricted as far as what you can do and how many people get in there. They're currently only allowed to have 5 buses a day. So that's why we had such an early wake-up call, because our group, they want to guarantee that we will be one of those 5 buses, because you cannot reserve who gets those spots every day. It's first come, first served. So in order to get those, we had to all get on the bus and get here, and then our tour leader ran out the door, grabbed the tickets, and we were the second of 5 buses to arrive. We got here at like 6:45, and we don't even get our passports checked until 8 or 9 a.m. So we've got a while to kind of wait around, so they are opening the concession stands early for us to get breakfast. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I'm just talking. Chris gives me the camera and I just start monologuing. I just need my coffee. It's so early.
So there is a Dunkin' Donuts right outside the DMZ.
It's not open.
But it's not open. Just to give you guys a heads up, there are a few places on this tour that we're not allowed to film. One being the checkpoint. While we're at the checkpoint, we're not allowed to show you the process. We're not allowed to pull out our camera. The second place is the infiltration tunnel. Now this sounds really cool and we're gonna be able to do this, but we're not allowed to take the camera down into this infiltration tunnel, but we'll tell you a little bit more about it and what we experienced here in a little bit. All right, let's go.
Special altar over here that the older generations who remember the war really well, they regularly come here on holidays, specifically New Year's and Thanksgiving, and they bring a meal or fruit and they put it on the altar and then they bow to the north. That's something they do in remembrance and in honor of family and friends still in the north. So the little colorful flags, the ribbons hanging from the fence, they look pretty, but they're actually little messages that people have written and then hung on the fence. And the idea is that when they hang them on the fence and the wind blows to the north, it carries their heart over to the north. So ribbons say things like, I miss my mother's face, or I miss my neighborhood, or my hometown. They're pretty hanging on the fence, but they're really sad.
Apparently during the weekends, this park gets really busy, especially with grandparents, people from the Korean War generation. They come up here to pay their respects almost every weekend. And we were told that the younger generation just doesn't understand why they're doing this, and like, why do we have to go up to this park? There's nothing here. In order to help the younger generation get interested, right across the altar that Sarah was just talking about is an amusement park. Right there. So the older generation goes to the altar, they pay their respects, they remember their families, while the younger generation is hanging out in an amusement park. The contrast between being somber and trying to reconnect with family members and friends that are in North Korea and they can't be touched, and then you have the screaming of a roller coaster right across not even 500 feet it's really interesting.
We just finished our time at the Korean War Museum, which was really enlightening. I think anybody who comes here, it's worthwhile knowing something as much as you can about the culture you're visiting. And I don't just mean like a brief history, like try to understand like what in the current recent history has been happening here, because what's happening today, like a lot of people when they come to Korea, they do DMZ tours. Well, why does the DMZ exist? Like why is that? It's because of the Korean War that happened from 1950 to 1953, and it pertains largely to Americans too, because we did send over a lot of Americans. 1.8 million Americans served during the Korean War. I think there were about 40,000 casualties of American lives, which is nothing compared to the civilians' lives lost that were lost here in Korea or Korean military members. But it does pertain to America, because maybe you, like me, have had plenty of family who have been stationed here in Korea. I know I've had, my grandfather was stationed here long before I was born. Korean War is called the Forgotten War in America because it came just after World War II, but right before Vietnam, and those two wars sort of overshadowed it, but that doesn't take away the importance of this war. So do yourself the service when you're in Seoul or while you're at home, brush up, learn a little bit about this, because there is a very large Korean American population back home in America.
You know, from the outside you see like in the news reports from about North Korea and South Korea and all this, and it's easy to feel so distant and far away. And then when we're here, being able to go into a museum like this, it actually gives us context on why there was conflict.
The museum pays really nice respect to the countries who did serve alongside the Korean soldiers during the war. So a lot of different countries from the UN when they entered and they came over, so places like the US and Canada and New Zealand and all these different countries, they have each flag of the country that served too. And it gives the fast facts of like how many people served, how many people died, and just sort of like a thank you to those countries. So it's really interesting. So definitely check it out if you're from one of the countries who did have soldiers over here too. They did a really great job thanking them too.
Believe it or not, the DMZ has a gift shop inside the DMZ.
And they've got coffee, so I'm gonna go find it. They have things in this gift shop that are North Korean and South Korean. Apparently they're sold out, but they did have North Korean whiskey, which they said was the most popular item to buy in here. My concern is always like, what am I supporting when I buy something? Like, what is my money going to in North Korea? But in this gift shop, when you buy something from North Korea, the money doesn't go to North Korea. It actually goes to the UN to help the UN dig up the landmines along the 30th parallel, because there's 2 million landmines-ish out there. I look like a giant. I look huge. These cutouts are not this size. There's no way. This is just a example of what the third tunnel looks like. The tunnel is like probably like right beneath us right now, but you cannot bring any sort of camera there. No phone. We couldn't even take our passports in there. The only thing we were allowed to keep was like watches on our wrist. You can't take anything. No wallets, no phones, no passports, no cameras at all. So you put a hard hat on, and then you go 23 floors down under the ground, and it's an 11% grade. So it's steep. Coming up is a little bit of workout, a little glistening happening because it's very humid in there too. You can kind of see this is what it looks like. So North Korea was digging a tunnel really, really far underground. There's estimated there's about 10 or 15 more tunnels. They found several of them already. This is just the third tunnel that they discovered. It's really short. Chris hit his head on it. I'm glad we had to wear hard hats. I was fine, but if you're taller than I am, you're gonna hit your head.
So right here behind us, that's North Korea. And Sarah just said the most isolated country in the world.
That's what they say. So it's pretty weird to see that. I don't know, it makes me sad. It really does. Like I know that like all the Koreans are really hoping for unification, like soon. just, I don't know, it just seems so otherworldly that this is their normal and then Seoul is just right there.
So one thing I didn't realize is that there's two flagpoles, one South Korea, one North Korea, and they started trying to compete with each other. So South Korea would build their flagpole taller, and then North Korea would tear theirs down and build theirs taller, and it kept going back and forth for years. Finally, South Korea just kind of gave up and just said, you guys can have the tallest flagpole. And apparently, it's the tallest flagpole in the world, 163 meters. I'm gonna put the feet right here, because I don't know what that is, but it's impressive.
I wish we had a telephoto lens, but I don't even know if that would work for this kind of a video, because there's so much that's just, I can't express enough that it's so much based on a feeling and understanding this being here and seeing the military presence and the lockdown security and the amount of armory around. It's just, it really shows you how tense this area is. Even though they want peace and unity again, the tension still is very much alive. So I think that if you're going to be in Korea, I feel like this is a must-do. Be prepared for it to be a little bit heavy.
But they've written in Korean very largely, North Korea is the best.
It's like their Hollywood sign. Like they just, and it's facing South Korea. So I don't know. That doesn't give me feelings of peace, I suppose.
But you know what? They can keep the sign in the tallest flagpole. And I will say, like, we just like passed some other vloggers, and they're making light of sort of the situation. And I think when you come here, you have to give people dignity, because those are real, genuine human beings on the other side of that fence, just like they're real over here. And so when you come to something like this and you make light of the situation, yes, you're supposed to find joy, yes, you're supposed to find like the good in situations, but it also doesn't take away the heaviness of it. And so give these people dignity, like when you come.
It is the most isolated country in the world, and we don't want to be glum on our channel by any means, but when you experience something serious like this, a really sort of heartbreaking situation, I don't want to just brush it off lightly. Like, no. I want to dig in a little bit and be like, this is a hard situation, and it's real, and it's current, and that's why we went to the War Museum, just to learn about it. And I'd say the best thing you do to give the people dignity on the other side who don't have a voice for themselves is to go learn, educate yourself, and hear both sides, because there's people who live in South Korea who have not seen their family in decades. They're stuck over there, and the war got them stuck there. So it's a really, truly heartbreaking situation.
So that's enough of our thoughts on this. We'd love to know what you think.
We're just two Americans who are doing the best to learn what they can.
That's right. So if you're Korean and you have thoughts on this, we'd love to hear what you think. Put it in the comments below.
Be gentle, though. We're trying to be.
Yeah, be gentle, guys. This is a learning place. Okay, Sarah's hungry. I'm hungry. Let's just do this.
Let's go.
Thank you. Kind of tastes like peanut butter. So this village that we're in is actually in the DMZ, and about 500 people live here full time. So the interesting thing is that they live here, they're tax-free. They don't have to pay any South Korean taxes. So while they don't pay South Korean taxes, they do have to stay here permanently until they turn 40. And then once they turn 40, then they can decide if they really do want to leave this DMZ zone.
So inside the Unity Village, they really have two main crops. I think they're soybean and ginseng. So this is soybean ice cream. It's green and it tastes kind of like a soybean, but it's sweet. It's kind of gritty. It's good though. Totally different. So if you guys come here, try the soybean ice cream. Like many people when we travel, we arrive in these countries with these expectations that we didn't mean to put on the country. I guess we think we know what we're going to expect to see there or experience there, and then we get there and it's something totally different. And I love that, and also it can sort of throw you for a loop. And I think Korea is one of those places where it sort of confused me at first, but every day I've been here, I've loved it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more.
This is the one place where the more time you spend here, the more you'll fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we travel places, we instantly fall in love, or we like this certain aspect of this place, whatever it is. But Seoul, it's this slow burn. Because when you first come in, it's very chaotic, it's very loud, it's huge, and it's overwhelming. And then once you start chipping away at the pieces and you start going to these little neighborhoods or you find these alleys with interesting restaurants or different places to visit, the more time that we spend here, the more that we're falling in love with it.
Like all places, we want to see the place for what it really is and not through the eyes of what we're expecting to see. And Seoul was no different. We're trying our best to see Seoul for what the Korean people have created. What is the real Seoul? And one thing we've learned that really stands out to us is how Seoul is two very different cities by day and by night.
Seoul is a sleepy city in the morning. Most coffee shops here don't open up until 8:30 in the morning. It's quiet, you see a lot of morning commuters, but there's not a lot happening. But at night, that's when this place wakes up and it comes alive and it's vibrant and there's a lot happening.
I think if I think one place when I hear South Korea, I'll probably always think of a market at nighttime with the flashing lights and all the smells and just, I love that side of Korea. I think that's the side I was really hoping to see in Korea, and it took a little bit to find those places in Seoul where that liveliness existed. And you smell the food coming out of the markets and the food stalls and restaurants, and it just, you see it, you smell it, you taste it, you hear it, I love it at night. And we're not usually late night kind of people, we're usually more early morning people, but we've adjusted to being night people in Korea because that's when you're gonna best experience the city.
Tonight we are out on the town, heading to some night markets. Not much of a plan past, just want to experience them. We love night markets. We're looking for food, as always.
마스크를 착용하세요.
Which one you want? So she got very spicy.
Is it spicy or soy sauce?
Got our first Korean, are there pancakes, right? Yeah, first Korean pancake. We heard these are must. This one had lots of locals sitting around it, so naturally we gravitated towards that. But they have several different kinds, including a sweet one. So maybe we'll come back and get a sweet one later. But this one is the vegetable one. And then you leave it kind of open so you get the veggies in there. And she was frying them, and it's really fresh. It just came right out of the stove, so it's very hot. Hot. That's good. This is good. This is kind of Korean comfort food, I feel like. I feel like all Korean food could be comfort food because it's all delicious and it's lots of rice and veggies. Just feels homey. You can see it steaming when I open it up. I just want to devour it, but I can't. I have to pace myself. This is very good. We'll be back for more.
Think of a donut, but with vegetables in it.
Yeah, I'm thinking hot.
The previous night market that we were at was dying down, so we walked 15 minutes, and this one is not dying down, it's just getting started. Now look, there's a ton of locals here at the night market, but this is also the place where I've seen the most foreigners like walking around. Foreigners, I mean like Americans, Europeans. So yes, this is authentic and Korean people do come to the night market. It's a really cool experience, but it's become more and more a tourist thing because of kind of people like us who put it on YouTube and people want to experience it. So one thing you need to be aware of while you're at a night market or even walking the streets of South Korea is that sometimes cars and scooters will just come up the sidewalk or the road where everybody's walking. So if you're here, just be mindful. A car could come out at any moment.
I don't know what this is, but I keep seeing them at the markets. It's kind of like a Pop-Tart with a filling, and they had red bean, cream cheese, custard, Nutella. It's kind of got the flaky dough, and it's a fish. That's really the main reason we tried it. I got cream cheese, Chris got custard, just wanted to see what it was about. It's like toaster strudel. It is. Haven't gotten to the filling yet. The outside's caramelized. It's got that nice flaky dough. Okay.
So we happened into this coffee shop a couple days ago while we were just walking around, and this one was really unique because it was half traditional Korean house and then half modern edition. So half of it had the old curved up roof and the tiles, and then the other half was glass walls and 3D printed backdrop behind the coffee counter, and it just was like this really cool blend of old and new. And even though that's just one coffee shop, it was kind of a nice example of this is Korea. It's the old meets the new, and that is really what makes Korea Korea, because you go to some of these places and you think you're gonna take all these historic walking tours and I guess see these ancient buildings. You go to Europe and you see castles and that kind of thing, but the stuff here, most of it's new, and learning to appreciate it for that and seeing how proud they are of what they created in such a short amount of time, I'm really appreciating that about Korea.
For behind the scenes and extra content, you can head on over to our Patreon community. Otherwise, be sure to follow on Instagram or like and subscribe here. It really helps creators like us.